Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you once again for joining me for another video. As always, a free way you can support this channel. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in the comment section for the algorithm. But other than that, let's go ahead and dive right on into this. I am looking at something, it's somewhat intriguing at this point in time that I'm seeing Bitcoin in the green and then I'm seeing a lot of red. That is on my mind right now, and that is what I want to talk about. Bitcoin is outperforming Ethereum right now. It has been outperforming Ethereum over the last week or so, and I'm wondering if that's going to continue. My guess is that yes, it is going to continue, that it is Bitcoin's time in comparison to Ethereum and in comparison to many other alts, if not all other alts, aside from some random crap coin that's been launched in the last day or two, and you know how that goes. So, we've been very comfortable with Bitcoin's dominance being under 50%. And I want to tell you, if you've been tracking along with Bitcoin's dominance, that is absolutely not a normal thing. And so I want to head over to Bitcoin's dominance chart. Now, as more and more cryptocurrencies get introduced to the marketplace, Bitcoin is naturally going to lose more and more dominance. Let me zoom out here and see all time. I mean, obviously, Bitcoin's dominance was near 100% back when it was the only or one of the only cryptocurrencies. And then in 2017, as a bunch of new cryptocurrencies were introduced, it dropped down, saw an all-time low of around 35% in January of 2018, the peak of altcoin season, where some alts 100x'd in the matter of a month. And then it topped out around 73 on January 1st, right on January 1st, because Bitcoin had an explosive move up. And I don't think we will ever see 73% Bitcoin dominance again. However, we saw anytime Bitcoin under 50% is extremely rare, and Bitcoin's dominance will wane over time. It's just a matter of there's just too many other players out there in the market. However, right now, for Bitcoin's dominance to be under 50%, that is still something that we need to consider as abnormal. It is abnormal for Bitcoin, for their dominance to be under 50%. And so we're going to see a move. I believe we're going to see a move back above 50%. And it's not just because it's supposed to be like that. I don't care necessarily if whether or not it's supposed to happen or whether it's supposed to happen or not. But what I'm seeing right now on Twitter, you're not going to see anything on my Twitter account here, but I'm seeing definitely, I subscribe to a few things. I subscribe to Bitcoin. Just, there's people I follow, but I subscribe to Bitcoin posts. I subscribe to Ethereum posts, to XRP, to Chainlink, lots of other altcoins. And the general feeling that I'm getting right now is a sort of disillusionment with Ethereum nuts. And so, if you don't know about the different cryptos, especially with Twitter, there are people who are all in on Bitcoin. There are people who are all in on Ethereum. There are people who are all in on Chainlink. And then there's this cult of people who are all in on XRP, and they're just on a whole nother level of insanity. And they don't like each other very much. And so it's really interesting. Something I definitely take note of is when I see somebody who's crazy about one particular cryptocurrency expressing some bearishness, I make a huge mental note of that. And this is what I'm seeing with Ethereum right now. I'm seeing some disillusionment with the fact that, as always, everything follows Bitcoin, and the fact that Bitcoin is outperforming Ethereum right now. And so, all right, you just think through the mind of an Ethereum nut right now. You are crazy about Ethereum. You see that Bitcoin is outperforming Ethereum. You see Bitcoin's dominance at historically low levels. And that's not a very good combination. So two ways we can go. Obviously, I mean, I make that joke sometimes, but there's two ways we could go. We go up or down. So let's say Bitcoin goes down. What it's going to do is it's going to drag the market with it. Ethereum will go down as well. But let's say Bitcoin goes up. This is again from this perspective of an Ethereum nut. It looks to me like they're thinking, well, Bitcoin's going to go up and Ethereum's going to follow along with it, but it's not going to follow along as well. And so they're pretty frustrated right now. And let me look at this. Here's the Ethereum Bitcoin chart right here. Ethereum got up to a peak of around 0.085 of a Bitcoin. That was its all-time high around May 17th when it reached $4,300. And then it kind of, it dipped as everything crashed after that Elon tweet, after the China FUD. It took a dip. And then bounced back, and kind of a relief rally here, and now it's on its downward ascent. And this is what I'm saying when I see this bearishness from Ethereum nuts, at least in comparison to Bitcoin. And here's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to continue to go down. The question is, how is it going to go down? Is it going to go down because Bitcoin breaks out of this descending channel that it's in? It goes into the 40,000 range, and Ethereum climbs up to something like 2,700. That's possible. Or is it going to go down because Bitcoin crashes down to $20,000 and Ethereum goes down to $1,500, something like that? I don't think that's as likely. Listen, I could be wrong about that. I remember reading a mainstream media article and giving it no attention because it was a mainstream media article, and never pay attention to mainstream media articles. They're usually wrong. They're very, very likely to be wrong. But this time it was right, and it was pointing to all of this Dogecoin and SafeMoon and Shiba Inu nonsense and saying basically, hey, there's froth in the market. And you can see that with Bitcoin's dominance being as low as it is, that there's froth in the market, and all these other things mooning, there's froth. What's going to happen is that there's going to be a correction, and everything's going to go down. Bitcoin's going to go down, but everything else is going to go down harder. That article ended up being absolutely right. My hope was that Bitcoin would have its day and shoot up higher and blow everything else away. But we got what we got. Bitcoin's dominance was around 35 or so a month ago at this time, and it rose, but only because it crashed, and everything else crashed harder with it. And so between those two, will Bitcoin crash and drag everything down further, or will it rise and outperform everything else? My money is on Bitcoin rising. And look at this chart here. Look at this chart, and I'm not a huge fan of the chart that I'm going to compare it to. And you can see this with Bitcoin's dominance too. Just inverse that. It's hard to see that on an all-time chart. But a 1-year chart, you see that. You can see this is kind of the inverse of this right here. And you see that with the Ethereum Bitcoin pair here. Ethereum, I think, only has downward to go. And this is a good comparison here. The psychology of a market cycle. So we saw this. We absolutely saw this when Ethereum peaked at $4,300. We saw this level of euphoria. And, if you want to criticize me for things that I said on this channel, I still believe that EIP 1559 is ultra bullish for Ethereum. That's coming out next month. I believe that we are going to see a $15,000 Ethereum this cycle. It's just things got a little too hot a little too soon, and there were indicators that I specifically chose to ignore, not because I just thought the weight of EIP 1559 was going that was going to be a bigger thing than the euphoria. Turns out that no, things got a little too hot. And then we see this crash, and then a nice bounce and complacency. We need to just cool off for the next rally. I mean, look at that. That looks exactly like this chart right here. Where do I think we're going? I think we're going to the next levels here. Anxiety, denial, pain. It's not going to be as bad because all of this could happen with the price of Ethereum rising. It's just that I think what could happen is the price of Bitcoin rising even more. Now, I'm not saying 50,000, 60. I'm not saying all-time highs anytime soon for Bitcoin. Bitcoin, but a steady rise, a slow and steady rise where Ethereum rises slower, or maybe even Ethereum is flat while Bitcoin does this slow and steady rise. I could absolutely see that. I could see Bitcoin going to $45,000 and Ethereum sticking around the $2,500 range. We'll see. But that's what I'm paying attention to right now. I am still wondering about, all right, MVRV Z-score. You guys know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, that I pay attention to this religiously. I'm just trying to figure out where we're going with MVRV Z-score. If we are mid-cycle, then this is very, very close to the bottom. Are you kidding me? A score of 1.4, very, very close to the bottom. The price of Bitcoin could go flat, and this MVRV Z-score will continue to go down. I want to point that out. However, let's just say I'm wrong. Let's say that the bull run is over. I very, very highly doubt that. But if the bull run is over, I mean, this Z-score could absolutely go down to these ranges. I mean, look at January 4th of 2015, the capitulation, December of 2018 capitulation, the coronavirus crash. If the bull run is over, I would fully expect the MVRV Z-score to go down to these levels of 0.2, negative 0.4 in December of 2018. I mean, buying opportunity this century, I don't want that to happen. I fully expect that we're seeing something like 2013, except just not as dramatic with these Z-score peaks. And we may never see Z-scores as high as this ever again. Maybe this is the new normal. A score of 7.13 on February 21st, that would be kind of a sell signal of sorts, you know. But mid-cycle, this is an amazing buying opportunity. The absolute lowest this Z-score would go would just be a little bit lower, 0.5, and that could be after a month of trading flat or so. And then we'll see, things go higher. I am expecting a green candle this month. It doesn't mean that it has to be a major difference. Let me do a 1 minute, or sorry, not a 1 minute, a 1 month chart here. I mean, look, all right, at $37,285, we are slightly green. I am expecting June to close slightly green. I expect July to close a little bit more green, maybe, in the 40s, somewhere in the 40s, in August to be a little bit more green, September to be a moderate amount more green, October to be a lot more green, and then we'll see. But I mean, lots of green candles here. That is typical of bull runs, is that we have a couple red candles. We have that box, if you remember the video that I talked about last week, where I talked about every bull run has a box that forms around this time in the bull run, and we are fitting well within that box right now, especially on the downside. The fact that $30,000 is holding is very strong support. That is 1.5 times the previous market cycle peak. That's a good sign. One other thing I want to talk about, and that is, I saw this article on Zero Hedge. Again, I really like reading zerohedge.com, but just take everything that they say with a massive, massive grain of salt, because they are ultra bears. And when I say ultra bears, I remember 10 years ago reading this article saying that the world is going to end, that the last human will take his breath in 2030. That's how, when I say ultra bear, that is how bearish this website generally is. But I found this article intriguing. 5 signs that America's raging inflation crisis is accelerating. And, all right, do I believe that the U.S. dollar is going to experience some kind of level of hyperinflation anytime soon? Honestly, no. I very strongly do not believe that we are going to face hyperinflation sometime soon. But there is no doubt, there is zero doubt that we are facing some level of inflation. Is it a crisis? Oh, man, not yet. But the further along we go, especially for poorer people, it's going to become a crisis. And I would say I'm about a score of 0 to 100. I'm like 15 nervous right now. Okay, so 5 signs. Let's just take a look at the signs. Inflation tends to hit those at the bottom of the economic food chain the hardest, but at this point, even most millionaires say they are concerned about inflation. That's very interesting right there. Number 2, the biggest banks in the world are now sounding the alarm about the inflation crisis. This week, a team of analysts from Deutsche Bank warned that neglecting inflation leaves global economies sitting on a time bomb. So we worry that inflation will make a comeback. The Federal Reserve, their goal is to stem inflation, to prevent it from happening by doing lots and lots of shady things. Not shady. I mean, it's totally legal what they're doing. It's just things that I would not propose that they do. and they're having more and more of a hard time doing it, and the banks are seeing that. Numbers 3 through 4, the big things that it's so obvious to see that we're seeing this. Housing right now is insane. I don't know. I'm overwhelmed right now because I will be looking to buy a house. I sold my house and moved to another state. I sold my house last summer right around this time and moved to another state. And I'm going to be looking to buy another house sometime soon. Just, I'm in a new state, wanted to get a lay of the land, and it is overwhelming. And how do you describe this? I mean, is it inflation? Is it something else? There are just basic things. So think about this. There is a new normal when it comes to commercial real estate not being needed right now. Commercial real estate, I expect commercial real estate is going to crash really hard. And that's because there's plenty of opportunities for people to work at home right now. And that is causing people to look at their housing situations and think, I want a better housing situation if I'm going to spend more of my time here. So you've seen it. I'm sure you have. Lots and lots of things. Made a lot of investors. BlackRock, if you haven't looked up BlackRock, look up BlackRock and housing. They're doing a lot of things, just gobbling up real estate right now. And so it's depressing if you are a buyer in a buyer's position. Here is something that is blowing me away right now. Used car prices have now officially entered, quote, absurd territory. This week we learned that the used vehicle value index has shot up by 26% so far in 2021. And I wanted to get a feel for this. There is one place, and I would recommend if you live anywhere within 10 hours of this place, this is one place where I buy my vehicles, and that is TNT Repairables in Spencer, Indiana. They get, quote, salvaged vehicles, which, I bought a Toyota Camry from there a few months ago, and it was salvaged because it had hail damage, which was barely visible. I'm telling you, it's like you needed a microscope to see the hail damage that was on this car. But I got it at an amazing deal for $9,500 for a 2014 Toyota Camry with 45,000 miles on it, something like that. Insane prices. All right, so look at this website right here. Page 1 of 1, 27 vehicles. 27 vehicles. When I went to this place 2 months ago, I think it was in March, 3 months ago. March, there were over 200 cars on this lot. And looking at these prices, a 2016 Jeep Wrangler with 43,000 miles for $19,900, I can tell you that these prices are much higher than what I'm used to seeing. A Chevy Equinox, 2019 Chevy Equinox for $13,000. That's not as bad, but who wants a Chevy, honestly? Who wants a Chevy? Chevys are crap. Kia Forte for $14,900. Let's see, Chevy Camaro. This is a good comparison. All right, it is a Camaro, so it is worth more. But 2011 Chevy Camaro with 89,000 miles for $9,500. I know that you wouldn't be able to buy a Chevy Camaro at that price if you were to try to go to a lot. But again, these are salvaged vehicles with rebuilt titles. Honda Odyssey 2016, 24,900. Anyway, these prices are much higher than what I'm used to seeing on this website. There are certain brands, Toyotas, for instance, that just there's no hope in buying. The fact that this company, whatever you want to call it, this used car business had over 200 vehicles on their lot 3 months ago, and now they only have 27 vehicles. That is a sign that what this article is saying is true. And then last, food prices continue to surge higher. Now listen, I am semi-retired. I run a grocery distribution business. I see this firsthand. I'm talking about firsthand. The prices that I'm seeing are amazing to me. The prices that I'm having to pay for these groceries now versus just a few months ago. I'm seeing it. I'm feeling the pain in my pocketbook, and I'm actually even considering I don't know, not that I would shut down the business, but I mean, I have to raise my prices, but supply and demand, will the buyers want to buy at higher prices? That's something that I'm realistically having to face right now. And it's not necessarily true that the buyers will want to pay at higher prices. So where are we going with this? I don't know, but I mean, the fact that Bitcoin is only $37,200 right now when we're facing this, it's like, this is a gully, okay? This is a gully. And we are going to be moving higher very soon. So that's all I got for today. and should I say very soon? Maybe I shouldn't say very soon because I am talking about a U-shaped recovery. I'm just now thinking that very soon in the sense that, all right, not tomorrow, maybe not next week, maybe not next month, but very soon. Okay, so have a great weekend. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a wonderful time. Be safe out there. Be safe with your money and all that. Like, subscribe. Much love to you all. Peace.